In our last episode, we ventured into the world of the fearless Spartans, the fierce Maori, and the relentless Viking warriors. Their strength and brutality shook the foundations of ancient warfare, but they are not the only ones to leave their mark on history. In this episode, we step onto the blood-soaked battlefields of modern and colonial warfare, where courage, strategy, and sheer willpower define some of the most formidable fighters ever known. Prepare to meet the Arditi, Italy's elite shock troops, the fearless Gurkhas of Nepal, whose bravery is unmatched, and the mighty Zulu Warriors, who stood as a wall against empire. They fought not just for survival, but for honor, for country, and for their people. With every clash, they carved their names into the annals of history. These are the warriors that defied the odds, broke their enemies, and proved that fear is not a weapon, it is a tool of the brave. This is their story, the Arditi, the Gurkhas, the Zulu Warriors. Welcome to the fight. The Arditi. By the First World War, the time of the warrior was over, replaced by the age of the soldier, a small cog in an ever-industrializing machine. However, there were some units that still embodied the warrior ethos well into their modern era. In order to break the stalemate of the trenches, Italian military chiefs formed a new unit designed to act as shock troops, to seize enemy positions using tactics that were aggressive and audacious, bordering on reckless, known as the Arditi, which means the bold ones. This unit was composed of volunteers, often from the Alpini mountain troops. Unlike the stormtroopers of Germany and Austria-Hungary, they were not considered infantry but rather a separate branch of service. Their units were much smaller than typical infantry ones, made up of just 4 officers, 41 NCOs, and 150 men. Like most stormtroopers, they relied more on speed and the element of surprise to achieve their objectives. It was here that the similarities ended. They did have access to modern firearms, such as the lighter version of the standard Kakano 1891 infantry rifle, the Moschetto carbine, as well as machine guns and flamethrowers. Their main tactic would be to advance under the cover of an artillery barrage, which hopefully kept the enemy pinned down and unable to return fire. Once they were close enough, the artillery would cease fire and the Arditi would throw their grenades at the still hunkered down enemy, tricking them into believing the barrage was still going on. Before the dust settled, the Arditi would have leaped into the trenches, engaging in hand-to-hand fighting. Their small knives gave them a tremendous advantage over their foes, who were wielding cumbersome long-barreled rifles with bayonets. Their tactics were a resounding success. The first known Arditi assault occurred in August 18, 1917, along the Asono front. During the operation, they caught the Austro-Hungarian enemy by surprise and captured 500 soldiers and 8 machine guns, while only suffering minimal casualties. Because of their elite status, they were transported by train or truck rather than having to walk long distances like regular infantry, so were able to carry lighter loads instead of heavy sacks, increasing the speed and mobility. They also received higher pay. They did not have to serve in the trenches and overall had the better accommodations. There was also a bonus system where they would receive financial rewards for capturing enemy soldiers. The price varies based on the prisoner's rank. However, this came at a cost. Because of their lightly equipped nature, they were devastating on the assault that lacked the ability to hold the ground they are taking. It was not unusual for the Arditi to sustain 30% casualty rates during their missions, but this is not unexpected from a unit whose motto is "We either win or we all die." The Gurkhas. The name Gurkha is derived from the town of Gurkha in central Nepal. In the 18th century, Prithvi Narayan Shah became the ruler of all Nepal after conquering the neighboring principalities, uniting them into one strong empire. The warriors from these diverse regions became collectively known as the Gurkhas. In 1814, a British expedition to Nepal met the Gurkhas in battle and were impressed by the skills and ferocity they exhibited. Likewise, the Gurkhas had a mutual respect for the British, and when the conflict ended in 1816, a clause was included in a treaty allowing Gurkhas to be recruited into the East Indian Company Army, which eventually integrated into the British Army. This was the beginning of one of the greatest ever partnership in military history. Over the centuries, Gurkhas have fought with bravery and distinctions in numerous conflicts, including several wars in Central Asia during the Victorian era, staying loyal to the British Empire even during the Sepoy Mutiny, and being among the first to be sent to quell any trouble in India or the tumultuous region in what is today Pakistan or Afghanistan. In the 20th and 21st century, Gurkhas have fought in both world wars, Cyprus, Borneo, the Falklands, and also Iraq and Afghanistan in the global war on terror. The weapons used by the Gurkhas forces have changed over the centuries, from flintlock muskets to modern firearms, but one consistent part of their arsenal is the famous Korik knife. This 15 to 18-inch long curved blade is carried by all Gurkhas and has been used on many occasions against foes unfortunate enough to be within their reach. According to some, there is a belief that once drawn, the Korik cannot be reheated until it has tasted blood. even that of the owner, though this is an exaggeration, and the knife is more likely to be used for food preparation than bloodletting. By most accounts, Gurkhas are friendly and affable when not on the battlefield, giving them the moniker of the happy warriors, though when in combat they become the implacable foes. Their motto, "It is better to die than be a coward," has proven true time and again over the years. Gurkhas have earned 13 Victoria Crosses and highest award for bravery in British military and countless other decorations. Today, Gurkhas are still an integral part of British military and large numbers also serving in the Indian military. It is certain that in the future, their enemies will always tremble at the sound of their battle cry. The Zulu Warriors. In the early 19th century, under the leadership of the powerful King Shaka, the Zulu people forged one of the most powerful kingdoms in Africa. Their military might allowed them to conquer their neighbors and set themselves up as a major opponent to European colonization in South Africa. The backbone of the Zulus military was the Amabutu system, which was reformed under Shaka's reign. Young men from throughout the kingdom would be conscripted into regiments called impis, commonly known as Nnetu. These units would live in their own barracks and all wear the same decorative ornaments, such as feathers or furs, to distinguish themselves from their impis. Like most militaries, there were intense inter-service rivalry with the different regiments vying for supremacy. Fights would often break out, and so long as clubs and other blunt weapons were used, little would be done to stop the altercations. Only where spears are deployed would officers break up the fighting. In 1879, at the Battle of Isandlwana, a Zulu army destroyed a large British force. The speed of the Zulu advance overwhelmed the British, whose open order arrangement left them vulnerable to the close quarter fighting that the Zulu excelled at, giving them the worst defeat ever of a colonial power at the hands of an indigenous force. Today, the Zulu are the largest ethnic group in South Africa, making up around 60% of the population. The Arditi's fearless charge, the Gurkhas' unyielding bravery, the Zulus' unbreakable spirit, warriors who left their mark on history. But even now, the story is not over. The final chapter awaits. In the last episode, we will review the most feared, the most ruthless, and the most legendary warriors to ever walk the earth. Prepare for the ultimate showdown of might, cunning, and pure ferocity. The final battle is coming. Will you be ready?